With 6 simple ingredients, a little bit of time, you can make chocolate covered cherries at home. You're going to strain about 1 small jar of maraschino cherries. Line them separately on a wire rack or baking sheet and set them in the freezer for about an hour. Next, you are going to combine 3 tablespoons of softened butter, 3 tablespoons of corn syrup, and 2 cups of sifted powdered sugar into a mixing bowl. Add the powdered sugar 1 cup at a time, mixing in between until a dough forms. Once your dough forms, remove it from the bowl and use your hands to knead it and shape it into a ball of sorts. Wrap it in some cling wrap and refrigerate for at least an hour. Once your dough and cherries are chilled, you're going to roll out your dough a little bit, scoop out about a teaspoon worth of dough, sprinkle your surface with some powdered sugar, along with putting some on your hands so that the dough does not stick to you. Roll your dough into like a little ball and then flatten it into a thin disc. Next, you are going to put a frozen cherry into the center of the disc and roll it into a ball. This doesn't have to be perfect, you just want the cherry completely covered in the dough. This is probably the most tedious part of this because you're just rolling and filling the dough repeatedly until all of your cherries are dough-covered balls. This can definitely get a little sticky, so just make sure to periodically re-sprinkle your hands and your surface with some powdered sugar. After the first few, you'll get the hang of it. It'll go pretty fast. I find that rolling a large circle and then cutting strips of the dough makes this go a little bit faster. Once all of your cherries are covered, you are going to place them on a parchment-lined baking sheet and put them back in the freezer while you prepare the chocolate. You're going to combine about 2 to 2.5 cups of melting chocolate with 1 teaspoon of coconut oil and microwave in 30-second increments until your chocolate is completely melted. Next, you're going to take your cherries out of the freezer and dip them one by one into your chocolate. I find the easiest way to remove them is just by using a fork. Then place your dipped chocolate back onto your cold baking sheet that was just in the freezer. This helps the chocolate to harden pretty quickly and maintain the shape. Once all of your chocolate-covered cherries are chocolate-covered, you can leave them alone, or if you have some chocolate left over like I did, I just put it in a piping bag and sprinkled it on top of the cherries for a little bit of a design. Because the cherries in the pan were pre-frozen, these should harden just fine at room temperature, but if not, you can put them back in the fridge. I'm just using whatever excess chocolate and making some little chocolate stars. Once your cherries are completely hardened, you can put them in an airtight container and store them. The longer the cherries sit, the more liquid the center will be. I let these sit for about 2 weeks, and they came out wonderful. I made these for a gift, and they came out fantastic.